Hi, and welcome into Me the Movies Open Dialogue. I'm Thomas Manning, and recently had a great interview with actor, martial artist, and stuntman Marko Zaror about his new film, Fist of the Condor, which is directed by Ernesto Díaz Espinoza. And this was really great conversation. You might recognize Marco from a number of roles over the years. He's kind of a legend in indie martial arts cinema, and he's been getting more and more recognition in recent times, including this year in 2023. He was in John Wick Chapter 4 facing off against Keanu Reeves. And he's got a few other projects coming down the pipeline. And with Fist of the Condor, this is supposed to be the start of a franchise, start of a series of films that I really hope they're able to continue to build on such an interesting story and world that they've already created, even within this first film. So really looking forward to seeing how Marco and company continue to build from here, and really was a great conversation. And I just want to thank him for his time, and hope you all enjoy this conversation talking with Marko Zaror about Fist of the Condor. So from what I've heard, this movie originated when the COVID pandemic hit, and you basically thought the world was going to end, and you wanted to make something that was, directly from your soul and represented everything that you loved about filmmaking and martial arts. So I'd love to have you expand a little bit more on that in your own words, and give an overview of the beginnings of this project.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's like it was a moment very special. I guess in life, not a lot of people get to experience these type of moments, where you're facing like something that it feels like not even real. Like you're facing kind of the end or like a new beginning, or like you don't even know, but you needed time to meditate and process what was going on. And that got me into a deep meditation and understanding of who really I was as a human being, where I was, and then, you know, what to do, like what to do if suddenly everything goes to nothing, to zero. Okay. And then that was just me starting all over again. And the first thing that I started doing was training. It's like, I started building like a little gym, like in this beach house that I was. And then I was just training. And my only thing that it mattered to me there was to was my training and my meditation. It was like meditation with movement. And then I'm like, look, if this is gonna be the end, then I just need to I need to do one more last movie to put all of this in a place so I can share with people. I didn't know it was going to be a movie, a series, a YouTube thing that was putting an episode. We don't know. We just wanted to tell this story, and I grabbed all my notes of my life journey to Ernesto, that is like my friend, director, that we worked together in other movies, and and then he just came up with this great idea of making this book, like ancestral book that I need to protect. And that book contains the knowledge of the Fist of the Condor that happens to be with all my notes as a martial artist. So it was genius. And then we were like, wow, we gotta do this. And the project start escalating, but we need to do it like good with real cameras, because at the beginning we wanted to do it with a very kind of like not go too crazy about it, because we didn't know where we're gonna do it, right? But then when I read the script, it was like, wow, man. And then so we started getting bigger crew, better cameras, and we did it as a actual movie without knowing what was gonna happen. That was the beginning. That was it, man. And then of course everything kind of started opening up, and then I end up, like doing this huge movie like John Wick, that it changed everything. And then it was like, wow, okay, now this could be a very good opportunity for me to show this movie, to finish as a movie, and then just, show it as a movie, and then Go kind of loved the movie, and Hi-YAH, and everything just happened. It was just crazy, man. It's crazy.
And there's some gorgeous scenery in this movie, in the beautiful mountain regions. I believe you filmed on location in Chile. So can you discuss a little bit about scouting and choosing these places to film and the inspiration you drew from those locations that kind of informed your approach to the story and these characters?
Yeah, well, the thing is that when I was in the COVID, a friend of mine, he invited me to his house and he's like, look, you can stay here because this is a this is a town that is like a summer town. And because of the restrictions, people were not able to live in their summer town house. So I was basically almost by myself in this little town at the beach. So it was beautiful, the scenario. This is in Pichilemu. It's in the south of Chile, and I was just the people from the town, the locals, and just me, and that's it. It's like there's not a lot of people. Not don't imagine like a summer with like when I was going in the beach running, there was just maybe one person in the whole beach, or maybe a guy, a fisherman or something, you know. So I was going to run every morning and looking at the sunrise and it was just, man, so inspiring. And I'm like, look, we have to do something. So then in that running was all the things going through my mind about this thing that we were living, like it was the end, right? But I felt the need to like, we gotta show this, we gotta do something with this. And then the scenarios inspired the movie also, you know.
And a few minutes ago, you mentioned working with Ernesto, and I know you've worked with him many times over the years. And something I've noticed about your collaborations is how often you're also the fight choreographer on the films when you work with him. And I know many times in other films, you're working with choreography that was created by someone else. So can you kind of compare and contrast those experiences when you're working on a film like this one where you choreograph the fights compared to another film where someone else choreographed the fights?
Yeah, well, in the Fist of the Condor, and when I choreograph my fights, of course, for me, it's like I still, use a lot the abilities of the people that I'm casting. That's the way that I like to choreograph. I like everybody to bring their own view of it, and me, I try to select what works better for my what I have in mind, like or what it feels, the rhythms and all that. And that's how I kind of put it together. And then I have some techniques or ideas the way that I want to move. So then I start seeing how this movement starts uh, flowing with this talent, with this guy that has for example, in Fist of the Condor, I work with Eyal Meyer that he's a master in Kalari. So it was very nice to get together and train and then just see how he moves and understand that dynamic and then discover this interaction of, okay, what you will do if I do this? And I attack him. And then I see his natural reaction. Okay, stop there. Like, okay, how are you going to attack me here if I do this? And then he goes, okay, like this, and then I'll block like this, so that's not so effective. Okay, this one, maybe this one it works better. I feel you can catch me with that one, but not with other one. So then you start kind of like, dancing and feeling the other actor and then coming up with a choreography. Of course, when you arrive to a movie that it's already have the previous, they already have like a map and they kind of ask or they let you adapt that plan to your skills. So you can go, oh, you know what? Why instead of this movement, I just change it to this? That I think it's more it goes more with the character that I'm playing, because you need to kind of bring your character into the fight choreography. So that it's very important. And sometimes when they choreograph the fights or the fight coordinators, they just place the dynamic and the timings, but then they're not necessarily doing the character work for each fighter. So then that's when you come in and you go, okay, no, but my character maybe will fight like this, or maybe we'll use this movement instead of this other one. So But it's not so different, though. It's not so different.
And something else I love about the film is the way you combine Eastern martial arts with aspects of your Chilean culture and background. So, what did you appreciate about having that opportunity to bring these various cultures together and explore those dynamics between the cultures?
I think that was the beauty of the Fist of the Condor, man. It was a very, very nice opportunity to just be honest and express myself as a martial artist, as a human being, as a Latino guy that grew up loving these movies and absorbing all this and going into the backyard and training and trying things and then maybe see training something else and doing some acrobatics and doing boxing and then absorbing all these things from our culture, because we're not. I'm like, you see Asian films and they have their own rituals, their temples, their philosophy, their very specific styles that they learn from generations to generations. So in our case, we absorb from many different places. We can see some karate, we can see some capoeira, gymnastic, jiu-jitsu. We've done, me as a martial artist, I've done a little bit of everything, and I experiment with everything. So then, how I put that into that story and make it work, and that was the beautiful thing. How Ernesto put all that together into this book. Okay, this is the Fist of the Condor. So then, of course, the condor comes from our animal that is from the Chilean flag, is our national animal. That's what you see, the open hands. Actually, in the picture here, you'll see in the shirt. So that I added. Lately, I've been doing a lot of animal flow and working with animal movements. And then I mix that with my martial arts training. So that's why you see some boxing. You see my wooden dummy. It's not the classical Wing Chun dummy. It has the open hands here to do blocks like MMA. So I wanted in this movie to stay honest to that and to show that and to express that. And that was my main goal with this movie.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you're playing dual roles in this film. These twin brothers they're two sides of the same coin, but they're sworn enemies. And I'm sure for you, tackling this kind of role was a new challenge as an actor and gave you chances to try different things and play around with elements performing that maybe you hadn't really had an opportunity to engage with before. So can you expand a little bit more on tapping into that really fascinating double role there and what that meant for you as an actor to have all these aspects to challenge yourself with in this film?
It's nice. It's always fun when you're able to go to the extremes of your own personality, because we do have this. We have multiple personalities, like ways that we carry ourselves in different situations, in different stages in our lives. So of course you kind of find this and you go deep on it and you explore this. Okay, more playful, more like you put yourself in different situations and then you kind of explore and you stretch that into, and it's nice. It's very nice. I really I'm really looking forward to continue the story and to be able to have these two characters fighting. That's going to be interesting because that fight is going to be very cool. To be able to show these two personalities in that fight, that would be very, very cool. So I'm looking forward for that. So yeah, thanks for all the support, because it depends on you guys. If you guys support the movie and go and get it and show love, and people and the distributors go, hey man, there's a demand for this. People want to see this. Then the second movie is going to happen very soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be leading the fan club for this film. It's just such a fun time. And I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, facing off against Eyal Meyer. And can you walk me through a little bit more of the development of that character conflict and what was important for you to portray in not only their physical combat but also their philosophical conflict between them?
Oh yeah. Well, Eyal was, of course, a martial artist that represents, that a little ego guy that wanted to have this manual and have the knowledge for himself, right? So he is an extension of the brother of the twin, right? Of the warrior, basically. And I like it because without being the brother, it kind of represents him in a way. Like when I love that dynamic that they have when they're fighting and they're kind of testing themselves and they're saying things to each other to kind of get out of the balance and focus, you know, and and I just tell him, it's like, look, man, he didn't send you to get the book. He's just testing me. He wants to know if he can beat me or not. You know, and then, you know, so that relationship I think was pretty cool. And then also he's using a little bit of backstory to kind of get me, you know, on my weak side and get me emotional so he can beat me. And that was pretty cool. I really like that. And I think Eyal did a very good job, you know, as a villain. I was lucky with Eyal because he's a very good actor. He does soap operas in Chile. He's a dramatic actor, but he's also a master in Kalari and he teaches and all that. So it was very fun to have him on board and on for this. It was, you know.
Yeah, well, I really am hoping that you continue with this franchise and build on these characters. It was a lot of fun to watch the film. And something else I want to mention before we wrap up. I know it was just announced recently that you and Ernesto are teaming up on another film, Diablo, with Scott Adkins as well. And of course, I know there isn't really a lot you can share about this project yet, but just generally, what are you looking forward to the most about that film and working with Ernesto and Scott together?
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I'm excited. It's always going to be fun for me to work with Ernesto. And now having Scott down there, and we're going to give him some love down in Chile. So I, I hope he's ready. I hope he's ready. So, you know, I hope he's training and he's ready because it's going to be fun, man. It's, you know, for sure we have a big, you know, Undisputed was such a big movie for the fans and like the fighting and all that, that, you know, I'm looking for, I've been training really hard. It's been a long time. And I believe that people's going to get a really good surprise with this one, man. It's going to be crazy. That's the only thing I'm going to say. It's going to be crazy, man.
Oh man, I can't wait. I really can't. But Marco, I really am a big fan of yours from your fights, as you mentioned, with Scott in Undisputed and Savage Dog, to your work with Robert Rodriguez, and of course in John Wick recently, and now Fist of the Condor. You always deliver, and it's always a joy to watch your movies. So just thank you for your time today. Thanks for talking about the film, and hopefully we share more conversations in the future.
Thank you, man. Well, we'll stay in touch and, you know, hopefully we can be doing Fist of the Condor too. And I'll have some more news soon, hopefully, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hope you have a great afternoon and thanks again.
Thanks, man. Thanks.